Make every night a wonderful journey, no matter where you are. Good night, sweet dreams. The first story, Amor, Eterno, yes. Has tratado por tu de los medios de encargar nalamar de tu vida. Algo en que te complete, algo en que siempre estoy contigo, algo en que te escucho. Yo se preocupo por ti. Bueno yo es como hacerlo. Bueno es a través de ninguna red social como vos dares pensarías. Lo primero que dices al bosque más cercano a tu hogar, en una noche sin luna, tan solo armado con un cielo, an as velas negras. Un papo y una pluma de legar al claro de ese bosque boner to lo que es traído sobre el tío te un árbol cortado. No te preocupa. Así es o aparecer misteriosamente en el bosque, donde vives, después de haber preparado tu día. Prend las velas a la, por ese lado a medianoche, y manténete arrodillado. En un momento, te mueves de ese posición, por más que los ver. No se te cansan y se te se alumbran, ant campis es ver y escuchar cosas. Por mucho miedo que sientas, no te mueves de tu posición, porque de lo contrario, ese lugar es lo último que ves. Tras unos minutos de envíos y alta tu nombre y que vienes a buscar, el amor verdadero. Y condicio en ello, y eterno si el bosque los dices est, en de tu lado con el reto. Si no hay lo más rápido, que puedes ir por el mismo camino, por el que este. Y burning en concepto tid es la ruleta. Como deca, cont en con él, right desciendo también. En ellos y alta. Esta noche. Firmo mi amor en condicio en el con mi amada, harto de la eternidad. Y con el cielo, chulo ciertes en long ongos queer de wike en la pluma, algo de sangre y describe tu nombre sobre el papel. Luego que me este cart, en y de las dos velas. Después de este rescue, de entre la oscuridad del bosque, al drive una hermosa mura, contensono una larga túnica blanca, de la cual tiene amor, es profundamente el instante, este tid, etercula y des, lo cual es por el resto de la eternidad, pero cuidado, que si la es con otro o diges de guerrilla. Bueno, no es bueno pele, scanan de manio verde. Have you tried all the means of finding the love of your life? Someone that completes you. Someone that is always there with you. Someone who will listen, who cares. And it's not through any social network like you may think. First thing you have to do is go to the woods closest to your home, on a moonless night, equipped only with a knife, black candles, paper and a pen. Get to a clearing in the forest and put everything you have brought upon the stump of a cut tree. Do not worry, for one shall appear mysteriously in whichever forest you go. After having prepared everything, light the candles at the appointed hour midnight, and stay on your knees under no circumstance. Should you move from that position, even as your legs get tired and you get cramps, even if you begin to see, and to see and hear things and feel fear, do not leave your position, because otherwise this place will be the last thing you see alive. After a few minutes, say your name out loud, that you come to find true love, unconditional and eternal, If the forest and the gods are on your side, continue with the right. If not, run away as fast as you can from there, the same way you came, and never look back. As I was saying, if you continue with the right, say out loud, tonight, I sign my conditional love with my love for all eternity, and with a knife cut your left hand, and with the pen take some of your blood and write your name on the paper. Then burn this letter in one of the 2 candles. After this, you'll see that out of the darkness of the forest will come a beautiful woman with only a long white robe, with which you shall fall deeply in love with her instantly. She will ask you to help her, which you shall do for the rest of eternity. But beware that you cheat on her or cease loving her. Well, it's not nice to break up with the demon, right? The second story, the growths. I'd had them ever since I was a kid. I can remember being incredibly self-conscious about them, hiding them in my pockets under books and bags. The kids at school never said anything to my face, but I knew they were laughing behind my back. I remember asking my parents to take me to the doctor to get them checked out. The growths on my hands seemed to be the elephant in the room back then, since they'd just say I was fine and change the subject. But I knew better. I had tried to remove them as a child, but without avail. Scissors, knives, potato peelers. Trying to cut or scrape them off was always a lost cause because I couldn't continue once the pain kicked in. But today was different. It's amazing how numb you can get with a couple of tourniquets and a bottle of Jack Daniels. I was originally planning to use a sharp knife, but figured that trying to slice through the tough flesh of the growths would be too arduous in my drunken state. I opted for the slightly more technological plan B. I had to hurry though. I was already pretty lightheaded and was starting to feel dizzy. My hands and forearms, nearly blue from the lack of circulation, couldn't wait much longer either. The whirring of the blender helped put me in a sort of trance, ready to do what I had wanted to do since I first looked down at my strange deformity. I shoved my left hand, and first the immediate sensation of sharp blades slicing through flesh was jarring, but I was surprised at how well the alcohol was working. I expected it to hurt more. I could hear the sharp metal churning and cutting, working perfectly as planned. I pressed my hand down harder. All those bad memories, all of the embarrassment, all of those horrible things were now nothing more than a thick red pulp, breaking from the feelings of ecstasy. I pulled out before the blades hit knuckle. I smiled, taking a good look at my new hand. As for the growths, well, 5 down and 5 to go. The third story, humming, fannered made by a nice X-file. These sounds I have become accustomed to. They didn't choose to belong here. A long time ago. A time with memories either lost or false. These sounds were foreign. They didn't make sense to me. They only came in the middle of the day. Everyone would be home. The lights on. The radio blaring. My brother and sister yelling at each other. But there was one sound that didn't blend together with the rest. It stood out, but only to me. It was nothing too startling, just a low humming noise. It bothered me a lot. I felt like it penetrated my ears, got into my head. I asked everyone else if they heard it. Of course the answer was no. My mother told me she would make an appointment to get my ears checked. That satisfied me well enough. After a few hours I couldn't help but complain again. The noise just wouldn't stop. I turned up the music. That dulled the sound, but I could still hear it slightly. At this point, I couldn't take it anymore, so I decided to investigate. I walked around the house, expecting the humming to get louder in one of the rooms. I came to the kitchen. She was standing at the stove cooking. Immediately I was relieved. I realized it had been the stove the whole time. She finished cooking soon after and turned off the stove. I was confused and frustrated as the humming persisted. I planned to tell my family. As we sat down to dinner, I sat down in my usual place, right beside my mother. The noise was louder than ever now that when I caught it. I looked over and I didn't see my mother. There was a white being, I guess you could say, sitting down in the chair next to me. It was hunched over, because from the look of its spine, which you could clearly see, it didn't have a choice. I fell out of my chair in horror. It looked straight at me. I typed that in quotation marks, because it had nothing to look at me with. I think there were probably eyes there at one time, as you could see through the skin that had grown over the sockets. There were and patches of long hair sprouting out of its head. They were completely plastered to its face. It had no nose. Only to diagonal slits there was a mouth, but no lips. It was gaping open, and you could see what was left of its teeth and tongue. I had finally discovered the source of the humming. The tortuous noise was streaming out of its gaping maw like a speaker. Of course, I ran out of the house. I ran until my lungs felt like they were full of acid. I stopped. My mind started working a bit. I had left my brother and sister behind, ignoring the burning in my chest. I ran back, as quickly as my feet would move. When I got back, I looked at my mother. She looked normal now, but I could still hear the humming. I grabbed my brother and sister by the wrists and pulled them away with minimal effort. They didn't say anything, didn't even look at me when we got outside. I yelled at them. Are you NWHAVETDOGETOUTOFHERE? Then I heard the humming. It was coming from them too. I was too late to save them now. I know they had been like that for years. So now here I am. I can't leave them behind. They're my family. I love them. I've gotten used to seeing their true forms out of the corner of my eye. I've gotten used to the sight of them digging through the skin over their eyes, though I don't know why they do it there. There's never anything there when they finally get it off. I've even gotten used to the humming now. Remember hearing my brother complain about the same thing when he was younger. I wish I had paid more attention. I'm getting paler. My hair is falling out. I can't see anymore, and I can feel my eyes decaying. I hear the humming coming from my own throat. Now it's faint, but it's definitely there. I used to wonder what I was becoming. I gave up a while ago, though now I'm sitting here with the dull blade I found in the kitchen. I keep slicing, but there's nothing coming out of my wrists. I don't feel anything. I pray to every god I can think of to make me mortal again, so I can end it before I become like them. They haven't answered yet. I'll just keep praying.